Hi guys, it's Jamie here again with a video I wasn't actually expecting to be making. The other day I posted just one of my journal photos on Facebook and my mum commented, "Now I know what to expect for Christmas." I replied, "I wasn't intending to make you a journal for Christmas because you don't journal." She answered, "But I make lists." As in to-do lists. I am going to convert this Coupland's paper bag to a journal for somebody who doesn't journal. If I'm going to make a journal for someone who doesn't journal, I may not be decorating every single page that goes into it, and I do want to do something new that I haven't done before, so just keep watching to see how this converts and what new things I'm going to be doing with a paper bag that at one time housed a sausage roll. Because I don't really have a plan with this, I'm just going to do a few basics tonight and then finish it off tomorrow. Yes, I am going to make a journal in a day. The first thing is I'm going to seal up the top end of the paper bag. You could strengthen it and leave it open and it could become a pocket, but I'm just going to quickly seal that up. I think this is actually going to make quite a nice size for basically a notebook. Because I do not have a plan, I am just going to put some gesso over the darker print and let that dry. And then whatever I do, hopefully it will not show through. For anyone curious, by the way, there are no sausage roll crumbs in the bag. Just let that dry, then I'm going to flip it over and do the other side, and I might come back and do that side again and the same again. So you get the general idea. You don't need to see all of that. This is much later than I intended. I've had a really busy day and I think it's about 9:30 at night already, but at least we can say it's dried. I did a second coat. It's this morning, first thing this morning, everything's dried. You can hardly now see the writing. I love the sound it makes. Listen. I don't want to lose that sound. So that was consideration number one. I don't want to lose the sound. And also I wanted to incorporate, as I said to you, some new things that I haven't done already. So I'm going to do something called a Midori style fastening. I think it's called Midori. Anyway, you'll see what it is. So I'm going to strengthen what would be the spine. All I did was fold it in half, by the way, to get that crease, because this is so thin. That's my only concern, that if that is going to be the cover, it might be too thin. I don't know. But I'm going to go with it because I don't want to lose that sound. So I don't want to be adding paper and things like that. So I am just going to use my fabric tape. This one, normally I use the brown and the wider one. I wanted to use white this time. I think this tape is normally used when you add bandages and things and hold them in place. I think it's a medical tape of some sort. I'm just wondering if something I should do is maybe reinforce the edges. Now, do I reinforce, or do I use this as the inside cover and then I've naturally reinforced it anyway? I'll do that. Cuts down the amount of jobs to do. Oh, it's shiny on this side, plain on that side. Okay, we'll be using that then as the inside cover. That has been decided. I noticed on the video duration watch time for my channel, with its vast amount of views, I always joke about the poor amount of views I get, most people only watch the first 3 to 5 minutes. So if you're only going to watch the first 3 to 5 minutes, I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours editing a video down to 12 minutes to make it nice and smooth and not too boring, because I might as well just leave it longer. That's how I'm feeling about it. Right, am I actually going to get this vaguely in the right place now? So what I'm doing is I'm just using the markings on the Big Bite to decide where I'm going to line it up on this side so that I don't actually have to measure it. and then obviously where I've drawn the line to show me where else I'm going. And hopefully this will work out okay. I've still not gone quite to the centre. I don't know what it is with me in this. It must be bad eyesight or something. And then let's just... I've no doubt maybe when I've been doing this a bit longer, 2 to 3 years time, I will be doing this so quickly and so smoothly. You'll think, gee, she's amazing. Whereas at the moment, you're probably thinking, I know more than her. Why would I watch her channel? I've also got some elasticated cord. Okay. Advice number 1, if doing this, thread it through a needle, then thread it through the holes. Right, so we don't want it so tense that it pulls the journal completely out of shape. I'll call it journal even though it's a list thing, but we want it tight enough that if you put papers under the elastic, they will stay in place. Let's just knot that there and see. Well, it'll hold a lot of papers. Whether it'll hold them in is another thing. I think what I might do is seal this down on this side with a bit more of this tape and then maybe pull it tighter. Let's try that. At least it has now stopped raining. It has just done the whole torrential downpour thing again. That's been this week. Sunny and hot and then torrential downpour. I'm not going to bring it over too far. I don't want to cover those holes. It's sort of now squidged where I've put it, which is not actually... Well, it is on the spine, but it isn't on the spine, if that makes sense. It's sort of falling one side or the other, depending on where I'm squashing the spine. Honestly wanted to do something, because this is just for list keeping, that was really, really quick. A material cover. Now, which way is up? As you can see, I'm putting a lot of effort into the edges for this, like a lot more glue there, and then I'm just going to... I wonder if I've got a glue spreader in here by any chance, though I'm not sure I need to. Let's just go... Oh, it's moved. Don't move, don't move. Stay straight-ish, because then it's going to be so much easier for me to just put that down. And then press. Please work. As a concept, please work. Because otherwise I'll have just wasted a nice piece of fabric that I don't know what else to do with once it's been on here. I'm worried about this bit. Maybe my idea of doing the elastic before covering was... There was a reason people do it after. I suppose now it's the fold over time, and also I'm going to need to cut a V here and a V here, and it's not all going to fold at the same. That's okay, because we are going to be putting the cardboard in here as well. And then cut a V. Just cutting off the excess. This can be used on something else, I've no doubt, like a little tag or something. So let's start by having an area that I can glue one corner to. So rather than me try and do everything at once, like some experienced crafter, I accept that I am learning and therefore need to do this sort of thing at my pace to try and get it right. If you ever get a Christmas present off me, it will not be very well wrapped. Okay, well, it's sort of neat. Yeah, it's pretty well stuck down over here. I don't know how much of this I need to stick down, because I'm going to be putting that... that's a bit off. That needs to come up a bit tighter, and that is about to flake off and give me really nasty looking nails for the rest of the video. I could use a bit of this glue to hold it into place, couldn't I? I've got to the point where I am no longer worrying about the glue seeping through the material. I'm just worrying about getting the material glued down. This really isn't my mum's style, you know. Oh look, my corners are all squared off. It's not what I wanted. But they're squared off evenly. Look on the positive. I am not liking this project. I'm not liking the result. I don't think it's worked. I might have to give up and do it again. We'll just keep going. I mean, it's going to have squared corners here and less squared corners there, and who knows, it's not going to look great. You can always lie. That's a design feature, that you know the back because it's got the deeper square corners. And the fact it has square corners is a design feature. I think we're going to have to go with the it's the thought that counts soon. So up to there with a little bit of give, because you're going to be adding papers, and then you don't want to go all the way to the edge. About the same. About. Notice my favourite word is coming into play. And then there. And then we're going to cut. Please let me have measured this correctly. And now we're going to glue. Equidistant. Wherever I'm going now is where I'm going. Ooh, glue. Where's that wet wipe? Oh, get out the way, elastic. Don't want you to get gluey. Right, come on. Out the way. Push this baby down. Oh, it's giving it a bit of something. Can you still hear it? Or have I lost my scrunchiness now? I've lost my scrunchiness. I did all that work to keep scrunchiness and I've now lost it. Really, really need these edges, even though they don't want to stick down. I might have to put some tape binding or something over the top of that. Should we see how they dry? I think what might solve this problem of these little corners lifting is to put a big heavy book on it for like 10 minutes, get a coffee, and then see what's happening. That sounds like a good plan. Very heavy book. Okay, it's completely dry, it's flat, nothing's lifting, it's okay, and it's still got a bit of give and a bit of a crunchy sound, so I'm perfectly happy with that. Now we need to make the signatures, not be sewing them in. These are removable signatures. I'm going to use scrap paper because this is my to-do list maker's journal. I'll show you what we're going to do. I'll put that to one side for the moment. We are going to go to this and just grab the papers, and if they're the right size, brilliant. If they're not, we're going to put them together to make the right size. The right size is going to be this, because when it's folded, that fits perfectly into that little journal. So that's sort of my template for sizing for when I have to cut pages. I don't know if you can see all this. So we're going to hinge them together and then cut them to the right size. And you can hinge it in a couple of ways. You can either just glue one piece on top of another, let them dry, cut it to the right size and then fold it into the right size, or you can hinge it using washi tape, that type of thing. We will start with hinging using tape. I'm actually going to just put one over the other and put the washi tape down. If you think because washi tape isn't a permanent glue that's going to be an issue, you could glue stick your washi tape first. Like I say, this isn't a permanent journal, it's a list maker's journal, so I don't think we need to do that. We're just looking for a pretty way to put the papers together. Obviously, because this is for making lists, I don't want to put too many decorative papers that don't really have much use to them, because you're not going to be able to make your lists on here. So I mainly want to be looking for scraps that are plain bits of paper or have large gaps that you could write in when I go through my big box of scraps there to make the signatures. It's also a way to get my scrap box down, which is overflowing again. Right, where is my little template? So I need it to fit this. Is everything high enough? This one's a bit lower, so I'm going to find a little tiny piece of scrap from my box just to add across the top of here, and then I've patched all of that together. Let me just find a piece of scrap that I can hinge across the top, something like this, that again I can just use my washi tape to add to. If you want a straighter tear, use a ruler and tear along the edge of the ruler. I will show you that as well. So we'll fold that over roughly where we want to be tearing, roughly. I will get a ruler. Let me get my big ruler out because I still haven't managed to get round to buying a sensible sized one. And if you want a straighter edge tear, holding that ruler there will give you, it'll give you a torn edge, but it will give you that straight line. And then we have a signature for our journal, and I will show you how that would work. At the halfway point, wherever your little holes are, just cut a little split. Now normally you'd have a big pile of papers and you do them all at once, so you're not doing them each individually like I am here. I'm just demonstrating. That's the halfway point, and now you have one piece of paper in there that can be written on. But like I say, normally you'd put several together at once and put them all under at the same time. We're back. I've put the papers have dried and I've put them in. I will show you what's in here. So we just start off with some plain coffee dyed paper. Then we've got some paper that I just cleaned a brush on. We've got one that's been put together from a couple of strips and some washi tape. Some more plain paper. You notice they're all different sizes. They all have things where you can write your lists. Plenty of space for writing lists. Sometimes a bit of torn paper has been patched with a strip of paper. So these were all scraps except for this coffee dyed copy paper. This was just some experimenting with some painting. This one's coming up a bit actually. I need to stick this one down with a bit of washi because that's a join that needs to be patched. So that's the other thing, is to go through and find if there's anything that needs fixing. We'll only go through to the middle because the back is the same papers again. So as you can see, there's bits and pieces of all sorts of papers that have been put together, glued together, stuck together, cut to different sizes. All of them have spaces you can write your lists on, but very disposable, not decorated, not something you need to keep or treasure. This is scraps of paper that have been put into a booklet that can be used as just very much a junk thing, but this time. And that's the centre. And then so it continues. So it's a fat little booklet. I didn't even use all the scraps that I've got. You could get more in here. There's plenty of room here to put in more papers. They're secure. And now it's just a question, has some give still, of how you're going to hold it closed. And I just thought, well, the simplest thing is just to use this again and create a tie. Because it's elasticated, we just put a knot in it. Remembering this isn't a highly decorative book, we can just get some of this elasticated string, or whatever you would call it, put a couple of knots in it. That was a very, very quick project to do. It looks pretty decent, to be honest, and another thing to consider is, even when every scrap of this paper has been filled up, because the closure here, if I can never find the middle again, is elasticated, you can pull these papers out and put new ones in and just keep using it. So it will last for as long as you want it to last. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the nice things to help this channel grow. And I'll see you next time.